Hello and welcome to the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. And tough loss, and it's getting to that point where these games are really starting to count. Really, really bad towards the Lakers, and it's just unfortunate loss tonight. And we're gonna get right into it. We ain't gonna spare no time at all. We're gonna wait. Um, we're waiting right now to Coach Vogel address the media, but let's get right into it. Anthony Davis, 34 minutes, 9 of 19 from the field, only 47%, 22 points on tonight's loss to the Sacramento Kings. Kyle Kuzma, 20 minutes and 20 points, 21 minutes and 2 points. We got Andre Drummond. He played 24 minutes, 7-11, 17 points. Now, the big news tonight, LeBron did return back to the lineup. He played over 30 minutes today. There was a little bit of rust, 6-12 from the field. He scored 16 points. He impacted the game a little bit, but of course, this is not what we're accustomed to seeing from LeBron James. He's still gonna be battling a little bit of rust, since he's been out 20 games. Yeah, these games are really starting to, really count towards, what the playoffs is going to be looking like. We're trying to avoid that play-in situation, and right now we're just tumbling down the standings. But we're going to go ahead and add the Lakers live post game to the stream and see who's going to be up first to address the media. But again, man, this one's kind of a head scratcher loss. Is 110 to 106. Lakers do take the loss tonight to the Sacramento Kings. We look at the Kings side. They got that hot rookie, 38 points. In 38 minutes, he had 23 points. Tyrese Halliburton, he was 8 of 14 from the field, 57%. He's red hot. He's kind of like flying under the radar. Not a lot of people are really buzzing around him, but he's really good. I watched him the other night when they played Dallas, and he was really flying off the screen for me. 38 minutes, he scored 23 points. I mean, he's been really stepping up for this ball club since De'Aaron Fox has been out. He's really been stepping up for them. They really developed him pretty well, with the way he plays. So it looks like we have Andre Drummond up. So we're gonna go ahead and get to that.
Okay. Hello, Will.
Hey,
Hey, does everything look good on your end? We had to readjust here.
it does look good, yes.
Okay. We will begin when you're ready. Thanks, Trey.
Okay, thanks. Mike?
Andre, you guys entered the fourth with that 10-point lead. What did you see as the difference in the turnaround in the final quarter?
I think defensively we allowed them to make shots. I think we missed a couple assignments defensively. They made a lot of tough shots down the stretch of the game too, so stuff that we couldn't control as well. It's part of the game. We have two new guys that are just coming in. LeBron just came back today, and AD playing his fourth game, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just a chemistry thing. We're going to figure it out. Nothing that we should be too worried about. It's going to take a little bit of time, but we'll be fine.
What are the things you noted specifically about LeBron and kind of how you fit into the offense and then how you fit into the defense next to him?
I think it's just his awareness on both ends of the court, just how vocal he is on both ends of the court. He makes the game very easy for everybody. I feel like he sees everything. He's like a quarterback. So having him out there has been really fun. My first game being on the same side as him, it's definitely been a great learning experience for me. Looking forward to being on the court with him more to, build better things.
Bill?
Andre, what do you think is going to be the biggest challenge with you and LeBron figuring this out in a short period of time? I know you're confident you're going to be able to get it all figured out, but what are going to be the things that take the most work?
I don't think anything will take much work. I think it's just playing together, being on the same court, and just having that time to, really get to gel and be on the same court at the same time and just figure each other out. Where, I got a chance to talk to him today, ask him how he likes to pick and roll. I messed up on one screen. I kind of tapped and got out too quick, and, he pulled me aside. So, I like when you, hold the screen. So I did it the next play, and he knocked down a big three for us. So it's just communication and, really getting the job done.
Hey, Andre. What's up? Just with you and AD defensively, obviously some teams you played have had success scoring in the paint. Are there still areas where you guys are trying to work out your rhythm and where you guys are on the floor when you're trying to defend together?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be anything that's going to take us too long. We showed glimpses of how good we can be defensively. It's just getting that time on the court, like I said earlier, just getting that same, camaraderie with the same guys being out there at the same time. So I think once we have a steady lineup and a steady rotation, I think defensively and offensively, we'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Andre, Halliburton was having a great game tonight. How tough was it to defend him?
Who?
Halliburton.
Oh, he's a good player. Very good player. He's been doing it all year. It's not just against us. He's had a hell of a year this year, and, he's really leading that team.
Last question, Leonardo Torres.
Hi, Andre. It's Leonardo Torres from Peru. Hope you're well. Andre, having AD and LeBron on the court gives you more confidence to play?
What do you mean by that?
What?
What do you mean by give me more confidence?
Confidence to play on the team because both of the stars of the team are on the court.
I think to answer your question, having those guys back has been very beneficial for our team. I think in terms of my personal confidence, I think that's something that I've already had to begin with. I think adding them to our team, adding them back as healthy players is going to really benefit us on both ends of the court. Looking forward to, really building that chemistry with them too.
All right, we're going to wrap there. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks so much, Trey. Okay, Will, we are ready when you're ready.
Thank you. Mike?
Hey, Frank, wondering your initial impressions of Drummond with LeBron and AD, and if you saw that play out with those starting units were together either in the first quarter or down the stretch in the fourth.
Yeah, I'm very encouraged with what that looked like. There was a lot of good sequences. Three of those guys, rhythm and timing way off. Them getting used to each other is going to take time. It's going to be an adjustment period, but I'm very disappointed in the loss, but encouraged by what those three are going to look like together.
Frank, for tonight, and I suppose moving forward into May, how are you balancing the trying to get this chemistry right, trying to get the rhythm right, and then results, like tonight, as you mentioned, and the way that this went down the stretch, especially?
Yeah, we got to do both. I said it's a very, very disappointing loss. We expect there to be an adjustment period, some bumps in the road. It's going to be bumpy. Nobody's final 9 games. It was bumpy going into the playoffs last year too. But we got to balance that. We got to try to get these guys each day to find their rhythm and timing and the chemistry together with one another, and win as many games as we can along the way.
Kyle?
Frank, you had a bunch of guys play tonight, and I know there was a situation with Trez where Mark came in for him in the first quarter. Is there a point, though, in these next 8 or 9 games where you are going to look at paring down your rotation to what it might look like in the playoffs, or are you trying to keep that open for flexibility reasons?
Yeah, we're going to look at as many things as we can down the stretch as we can. We don't have enough time to look at everything. We don't have enough time for those guys to really find the chemistry necessary for the playoffs, but we're going to make the best of it. Everybody's in their own unique situation, and I believe that over these final 9 games and into the playoffs, we're going to find the right rhythm and timing and chemistry and have success in the playoffs. But it's going to be a little bit bumpy along the way.
Dave?
Frank, you told us LeBron was flying around 1-on-0. What do you think he looked like 5-on-5? We saw him have a blow by at the end of the first quarter, hit a 3, had a fadeaway. What did you see out of LeBron's game in terms of his sharpness level?
Yeah, I thought he looked great. I was very encouraged about how he looked. I actually thought that he would have more of a, growth curve in terms of, getting his leg back under him, his conditioning. I thought looked really good. Missed some shots, had a couple turnovers, but he's not just coming back off after being out for 2 months. He's playing with new teammates. You know what I mean? So, but I thought overall he looked very good.
Couple more. Rashawn Haylock.
Hey, Coach. What can you draw from the restart last season as it relates to this last chunk of games here, and how similar is this?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly can draw some success that, we were learning each other or relearning each other during that restart last year. And, it's a little bit different. We have new mates this year and guys coming off of long layouts because of injury, not long layout because of the pandemic, which is what last year was. But, it's going to be a little bit bumpy along these final 9 games. We saw last year that, it was bumpy going into the playoffs. And, if you just have a growth mindset, during this stretch, you can still prepare for the playoffs and have success.
Last question, Claudia.
Frank, you picked up some momentum in that third quarter. What clicked with your defense at that time?
I think our defense is at its when we're active with our hands and active with our voices. And I just thought that group that was playing right there, was really active in both ways, really talking to each other, anticipating things, and getting deflections with our hands. So, that was the best part of that stretch.
Thank you.
All set, Frank. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
So we just heard from Coach Vogel. So they're very encouraged about LeBron's return. He did look okay from the time that he was out, but these games are really starting to count big. They only got 9 games left now, and if the Mavericks come up with a win next game, they tie them. Then you have Portland that we know what they can do. It's going to be very difficult. There is not no time right now to push the panic button. I know Laker Nation wants to really go in. Right now is not the time. Just hold steady. It would be just fine. Yeah, LeBron he's back, so that's very encouraging. So once he's fully back in jail, he's coming back with new teammates. He's coming back off of an injury, as you just heard from Coach Vogel just now. We're excited about that. We can hang our hats on that. I know it's a tough loss, but they'll bounce back just fine. It's just really difficult right now. I mean, I don't ever think I've seen the Lakers struggle like this with so much talent, because they have a lot of talent on the team. I don't want to say that because I've been through those whole years when they wasn't competing for any playoff games or anything like that. So we went through that long drought. So I'm well aware of how disappointing it is when the Lakers are on a long losing streak or struggling. So this is not new for me, but it's difficult because of the amount of talent that the team does have on the roster. You got LeBron that just came back today. You got AD, Andre Drummond. They have depth. They're deep. But it's no time right now to start panicking. This team is, when it's fully loaded and everybody's healthy and ready to go, I mean, they're going to be a tough out. But, I mean, just right now, they just really are struggling to win. I mean, that's just what it all boils down to. It's just hard to watch and hard to figure out right now. We just need to make sure that we are not panicking and at this time. Right now, we're waiting on the next player. Just heard from head coach Frank Vogel. I do have a prepared question for LeBron if I'm able to get to it. I'm hoping that I'm able to get some LeBron quote or comment on being back and things like that. Playing with his new teammates and how did he feel? What did he see? Things like that. Okay, shout out to Derek, Cassie Unicorn. Nick Wright says, if they lose again, the Lakers are screwed. I don't know about being screwed, but they're really putting themselves behind the 8 ball, and you don't want to be in this type of situation if you're in any team. You don't care if you are the Lakers or just any team. You don't want to be in that situation where you tumble down to that 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th spot. You don't want to be in that situation because you no longer control your destiny. It's a wild card. You can draw anybody in the playoffs. I have complete confidence that the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. Like, come on, like there's no way the Lakers will miss the playoffs. But it's just going to be just an uphill battle, and we don't even need to be talking about repeating the title. We need to be really focused on the disasters that we're seeing right now. Just going back to the game, one of the biggest things that I seen them struggle with tonight was on the defensive end, and the Lakers are really known for their defense, so they lost a bit of their identity on today, which I didn't understand. And then you look at the 3-point shooting; it was just horrible. 7 of 28 as a team, shooting 25% from the 3, field goal percentage. They shot 50%, which is good. But they outscored and they out did the Kings in that regard. Free throws, they got to start knocking down free throws. They was dominant on the glass. Of course, they got Andre Drummond. They got that big lineup, and the turnovers. They turned the ball over 21 times as a team. That's just not going to work. Those points those turnovers. Say for instance, like you're down and you're turning the ball over 5 times. That's a difference between you being up and you being down. And you got to secure the basketball. You got to protect the basketball at all costs. And if you're turning it over more than another team, that's the ball game. So we got more comments. Love the comments. You know what? I honestly, I love Dennis Schroeder. I can't defend that. Like I can't back behind it. I love the way Dennis plays. He's the heart and soul when he's fully locked in and engaged. So I can't really agree with that comment. But we know definitely going to need him to step it up a little bit. I love his energy. I love the way he plays when he is on the floor. We're just struggling right now. I don't agree with that, but I love his play. I know we should have what we should have done, but we didn't. We have Dennis. He's the point guard. So we got from Cam Dynasty. Dennis Schroeder needs to step up. He doesn't know how to play when LeBron James is on the court. He just walks around, doesn't cut, and gets turnovers. It's really as a player, it's different. You have to heighten your game when LeBron is out there. He demands a lot when he's on the court. He knows where every guy's supposed to be. He knows where your guys are supposed to be on your team, if you're opposing team. And it's just the LeBron James impact with different players. And Dennis, yeah, you're absolutely correct. Is gonna have to adjust when LeBron is on the floor and do the same thing that he's been doing when LeBron was out. I mean, when LeBron is in there, both teams, it's a sense of urgency. It's different. It's the LeBron James impact. And Dennis is going to have to step up and be the Dennis Schroeder that we are accustomed to seeing him play, when he played in Atlanta, OKC, before LeBron returned. We're going to have to get that back. And I feel like it will. It's just going to have to click. It'll be okay. Like, we just need to chill. We're in good shape still, but it's starting to get bad. It's not no time right now to push the panic button. We still have a few more games left, and it's a pretty soft schedule. So let's just not push the panic button right now. We're gonna be all right. I love these comments though. These comments are interesting. We're gonna be all right, Laker Nation. Just have to trust the process. It's a brand new team, pretty much from last year. I mean, you got AD, you got LeBron, cool, still there. They return, but overall, this is a different type of lineup. We got Drummond that's in there. You got Dennis that's we got this season as well. Montrez that's on the bench. It's a different type of lineup. And looking at it on a piece of paper, you look at all the people on there, and you look at what they represent. You would think the record would be a lot better, but the injury bug really ravaged this team. I mean, like no other, and it's just really hard, battling from that. But I'm hoping that they're able to get it together. And right now, we're currently waiting on the next player to address the media. We did hear from Coach Vogel, also Andre Drummond, about tonight's game. But again, it's just tough right now. But they'll bounce back. Everything will be just fine. It's just not time right now to start panicking. I did say, pregame that this was a must-win situation, and it was. All these games are a must-win. Let's face it, the Lakers are going to lose basketball games, but you can't lose to teams like the Sacramento Kings. You can't lose the teams like the Washington Wizards. I mean, this is just absolutely things that you cannot do as a basketball team, first and foremost, and as a Los Angeles Laker, like that just it's just something that we just can't afford to lose those type of games. Like these are, you look at the schedule. Oh, I got the Kings, we got the Wizards. That's money in the bank. But you got to close. You got to, they did get on a good hot streak in the third, but it just fizzled away in the fourth. LeBron did come back tonight. This is his longest absence in his career, and he's been out since March. I think it's the 20th with that high ankle sprain. So that's a total of 20 games. Before tonight's game, I think they had already ruled him out Thursday. And once LeBron got to the ring, he started feeling pretty good, so he was able to go ahead and play. And prior to the game, we did hear from Coach Vogel pregame and said that he wasn't expected to put him on any hard minutes restriction or anything like that. But, just make sure that we keep it responsible and reasonable. So he played, a decent amount of minutes, impacted the game the best he could. And, pretty much, the conversation was that he thought that he can, come off this trip and, at this time just return to the lineup. So of course they was going to welcome him back. That's LeBron James. He went through his final test during the practice. And coach confirmed that he was going to play. So it was about 5 hours before tip-off. And Coach Vogel gave him his full support about him. LeBron said he wanted to play. He wanted to play. So we not gonna say we're gonna wait until this time. LeBron says he want to play. He's gonna play. So the decision was made. He played, and it's still gonna take some time to work out the kinks. It's gonna be learning new teammates and things like that. It's not gonna take. It's LeBron, so he's gonna be able to figure it out. But it's just prior to the injury, we was number 2 in the Western Conference. And, pretty much, a lot of things changed. LeBron, before he left, he was in the front runner of the NBA MVP race. They just right now they 8 of 13, without him being in the roster. And it's just tumbling downhill from there. But, like I said, don't panic. It's not reason to panic right now. So we got another comment. LeBron looked great. Not just the rest and recovery he had, but he looks like he got a new trainer with some of those moves he was making tonight. I mean, yeah, if just let's dissect it. He looked good. I think that right now, we expecting too much. It's not gonna, we're not gonna get it all back in one night. It's just tough that it was expense during the Kings game. But, they're not going to be able to get it all back in one night. We're hoping that LeBron does, integrate himself back into the lineup, and we're actually seeing him back to where he was at. We're not going to see him back in full form in one game. We just have to temper our expectations a little bit. But, I think that was a good take. He did. That's a bright spot, so that's going to be good moving forward. So then we got, all right. Say Kuzma, Harrell, and McLemore should keep KCP and Dennis minutes. I just don't see the impact. Well, I mean, I hate. I don't like the Dennis comments, man. Like I like Dennis. I think that Dennis is gonna be all right, but McLemore is gonna be solid. Coming off the bench. I like his shooting. I like the possibilities with him coming off the bench and lighting it up from 3. I'm seeing like different things in my head. How it's gonna be when he does when they do make the postseason, and LeBron's coming down and he just knocks passes out to McLemore. He's able to hit those wide open threes. That's just something that you're gonna have to respect. And I like his game. Kuzma. We're just going to have to get some consistent play from him. We just don't know exactly which Kuzma is going to show up, in games. But we know what his impact is. Last year in the bubble, he was a key contributor down the stretch. And I think everybody's gonna have to step up. You know, KCP, we seen him light it up and see what he can be, you know, in the bubble, and we seen flashes of it this season as well. You know, KCP is gonna be, you know, a key contributor as well, but we just have to, you know, get out of these 30-minute 6-point games. I mean, that's just not gonna work. You know, then you had Kuz tonight. You know, he only had 2 points. But, you know, McLemore, he looked good too. You know, in the 15 minutes he played 15 minutes. And just to the point that we had, he played 15 minutes. Kuz played 22 minutes. He only had 2 points, but then you had McLemore that came in and played less minutes with more points. You know, look at another situation too. You know, you had Keith Morris. He played 14 minutes with 3 points. Dennis played 36 minutes with 8 points. You know, and that's just not gonna cut it. You know, all 3 stars had in 30 plus minutes. You had Anthony Davis. He had 22 points. LeBron had 16 points. But even coming off injury, coming off the layoff, he had 16 points in 32 minutes. That's really not that bad. He shot 50% from the field. You know, what more can you expect of a guy that's missed 20 games? That's not bad. He had 8 rebounds, 7 assists. You know, just didn't get it done. Same thing with Andre Drummond. He had 24 minutes. He contributed 17 points. Marc Gasol did come in for a spell, like a blink of an eye for 8 minutes, and he scored 5 points. You know, they just fell apart in the fourth. You know, it happens, but they're gonna have to really ramp this thing up. You know, wrap this bow up, and this pitcher's gonna have to come to focus a little bit because they can't lose games like this. They losing games like this. I mean, it's not gonna look good in the playoffs at all. I ain't gonna no doubt that they're gonna make the playoffs, but it's gonna be definitely difficult. You know, but that Tyrese Halliburton, man, like shout out to the rookie, man, the young rookie. You know, he's really impressing a lot, turning a lot of heads. You know, he should get some buzz on the Rookie of the Year for sure. You know, he's definitely a good player. You know, he's been doing it all year, but it's been silent. Not nobody really been, you know, really paying attention to Tyrese Halliburton. You know, he had a pretty good year. You know, he's really helping his team out. You know, with their star point guard out, he's really fit in nicely. Like they got something, you know, with him. You know, just look at his last few games. Like tonight, he had 23 points. He had, I think, the game against the Jazz, he only had like 13 points. He played 30 minutes. He didn't really play that much. And then you had the Mavericks game. You know, he only had 14 points against the Mavs, but his impact on the game was there as well. You know, right now he's averaging 12 and a little over 12 points a game in just 30 minutes, averaging 30 minutes. But man, his impact and like his vision is there, man. I like his game. You know, even sometimes like tonight he had 10 assists, and he knocking down that 3 ball consistently too. I think he was 50% from the 3. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they've been inconsistent lately, and I just hate it too. I just wish that they're able to get that together, get some kind of consistency. Like when they're playing and they're focused, you know, they can play, but it's just like, man, you don't know what you're gonna get on a nightly basis. You know, that's a good take. You know, I've seen that so many times. You know, if you go back to last year, you know, Kuz, you know, he'll get you 20, 30 points. Then you might have a game where he only give you 5. You know, we know what he can do. We was looking for Kuz to kind of settle into that third superstar role, which is, you know, he hasn't still yet. Like he's still like go out there and he's starting like figuring it out. I don't think Kuz has really like figured out how to play with superstars. Every team he's ever been on, he's been the guy. And like the first year that LeBron got there, he was, he played pretty well, but we're gonna have to get more production for sure. So this one, I really feel the Lakers need a player like Joe Harris from the Nets because KCP can't hit those shoot sniper shots. He can, but it's just not consistent. Yeah, if you have a Joe Harris, of course, he was a 3-point marksman. So, for the Nets, and I like Joe Harris too, but they're totally different players, and I've been one to kind of rag on KCP too. I've been like one of KCP's biggest critics because whenever they got KCP, I believe it was like right after Kobe retired, and I'm a big Kobe fan. So when they retired, I didn't look at them as so backfilling a position. I thought that they was like gonna look for a replacement. But a lot of times when I speak about KCP, a lot of people saying like, nah, they got him because they needed that roster spot to fill. But right after Kobe retired, they get KCP a shooting guard, and I'm like, KCP, like I didn't really see him a lot when when he was in Detroit, but I was like, you follow up a legendary career with you add KCP, and so I was like, okay, well we got KCP, we'll see what it looks like, and so I was like really critical of that move. Whenever we struggled, I was like, this is what we have, but he's shown flashes. Like if you look at, think about a light, he has like these flashes, like the light never just stays on. It just flashes here and there. Just flashes. We're needing that light to stay on consistently. And you got six points here. The Wizards, he played 34 minutes. He only had 4 points. Against the Magic, he only had 10 points. It's just like that's just not gonna work. And then when you go back to one of his bigger games, when he played against the Mavericks, he had 29 points against the Mavericks. He had 25 points in one game against the Jazz. And it's just like he's gonna have
All right,
to figure it out.
we will start when you are ready on your end.
King James.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
Hey, LeBron, there's that NBA adage that it's impossible to replicate the physicality of an NBA game except for playing in NBA games. Just wondered how you were able to keep yourself physically at this point to where Frank said he was pretty impressed with how you looked and wondered also how you felt in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played a game in 6 weeks, and no contact, no 5-on-5. I've been doing a bunch of individual workouts and a lot of running, trying to keep my my heart rate going, my conditioning going, and for my first game in 6 weeks, I felt okay. As far as my win, I felt pretty good. As far as my ankle was a little tight at times. Obviously, just doing different movements, different things that I haven't done. Obviously, in the game situation in 6 weeks. So I think as the games go on, that will continue to improve. But I came out unscathed and pretty good. So it's a good start.
Yeah, Frank talked about for the team, obviously a frustrating loss. I just wondered what you saw that you think is most that you guys most have to focus on as you build up towards the playoffs here, these final 9 games.
I mean, obviously it's on both sides of the floor. I saw turnovers, hindered us a lot in the fourth quarter. But also, we gave up some really good looks for them in the fourth quarter. And we had a 10-point lead at one point. We let that dwindle down, and we got to do a better job of that.
Dave?
LeBron, welcome back. It seems like so long ago when you guys were 21-6, and it looked like a defending championship run was, like in the cards, everything moving in the right direction. Now where you guys stand with working in the 2 new pieces, working you and AD back, what is it going to take to kind of get that same type of feeling, that same type of confidence, that same type of rhythm to be when the games tip off of the playoffs, to be in that same type of place?
Well, minutes on the floor helps. The more minutes that we get on the floor with our full unit that we have will only help us, and wins as well. But we can learn a lot in our losses. So, We got to continue to get better. We are working in, like you said, 2 new pieces in Drummond and and Ben, and then we also working in 2 new pieces that was already here, myself and AD. So to the fold. So every opportunity, like you said, film sessions, shoot arounds, and it's not much practice time, obviously, but the games we got to get better from it.
Bill?
LeBron, Frank said before the game that he really feels like, for his own personal comfort level, this is not really enough time to do all the things you guys need to do before the playoffs in terms of reintegrating and all of that. How much do you think you guys can accomplish in these final 9 games, and what do you think is just going to end up on the cutting room floor because of how much time is left?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds so weird, Bill, what you're just saying. It's only 9 games left. It's just been a hell of a season, obviously, and everything has felt so rushed. It's a game every other day, or it's a game, back to backs. You can have as many 4 or 5 games in a week. So it's been a long, super quick season. So how much can we make out of these 9 games? I'm not sure. I know as far as our chemistry, we continue to build that. We continue to build the log minutes out on the floor. Continue to build some things, obviously, but we can't. It's just a different season, for not only for us but for a lot of teams, but we look forward to the challenge. I mean, it is what it is. This is the season, and we got to make the most of it.
Kyle?
Hey, LeBron. A little surprising to see you in the Red Sox hat. I know why you're wearing it, but a little jarring. 2 questions for you, if you would. One, the Lakers had lost 4 or 5 before tonight. Did that give you urgency to come back? And 2, when you hit your first bucket, the and 1 at the end of the first quarter, was that a little bit of a relief for you testing that ankle?
Well, I mean, it's been urgency for me to get back ever since I got injured. So that's just who I am. You guys could have seen the logging of minutes and hours per day that I was doing as far as rehab and treatment. It was a lot more than I slept. So that's over the last 6 weeks. That's all I've been doing, is having the urgency to get back and play. I knew I would, getting back to 100%. It's impossible. I don't think I'll ever get back to 100% in my career. But I felt comfortable where I knew I could get on the floor and help my team win. 2, that play I was able to push off my right ankle, going left and the ankle that was hurt, and be able to, get a good step on a really good defender and then finish at the rim. So, that was a good step, for me mentally.
Take a few more. Melissa Rowland.
LeBron, good to see you. Obviously, this is the longest absence of your career. For somebody who loves the game and loves being out on the court so much, how challenging was that for you mentally? And is there any silver lining there, just in terms of this having given you a sort of a reset of sorts?
It was horrible, honestly, for me. I was more stressful than I've ever been. I would say the first, couple of weeks was pretty good because, I wasn't allowed to travel much, or I didn't travel much, as the injury and, the swelling was happening with my ankle. So I kind of stayed at home and, didn't go on a couple of road trips with our team. I was able to stay home, be with my family. So that was very rewarding. But as far as like watching the games and not being able to play and, or sitting on the bench and, knowing that you couldn't you can't make much of a difference, it was very stressful. So, but I'm happy I'm playing now, so a little stress relief.
Mark Medina.
LeBron, welcome back. I know last year the season restarts, obviously some different players on that team in different circumstances, but to what extent do you think you and some of the other players can draw from that experience, just knowing you guys had to deal with a long stoppage in play and trying to get the chemistry going before the playoffs started?
Yeah, I mean, every season is its own challenge, and obviously, the experience of last year is totally different from what's going on this year. But we can hang our hats on knowing how we can perform in the postseason. We have a lot of guys that return from our postseason team, even though we have some big guys that that now they're in other places now. We have a lot of experience, in the postseason, on how to make a run, how to handle adversity, and we know we can always hang our hat on that. Will it result in wins? that's for us. The game is played in between the four lines and not on experience or on paper and things of that nature. Got to go out and do it too, but you can always go back and use some of those for some times where you just feel like, okay, can I do this or can I not?
Last one, Rachel Nichols.
Hey, LeBron, welcome back. Just wondering, when you are sitting out injured like that, how do you mentally sort of watch the games? We saw you on the sideline week after week. Do you kind of put yourself in on different plays, or is it more just absorbing what the different guys in the court are doing?
I do it from both perspectives. I do it from a sense of, giving my voice to what was going on the floor for my teammates. Okay, this is what I saw, whatever. This is what I think we can exploit. This is the mistakes we made. And then on the other side, I put myself in a position to say, okay, this is the play I would have made. If I was in that position, I would have made that play. How I could affect the game in that way. That's the stressful side, when you know that if you're on the floor, you can make those plays and you can help your teammates win, but you physically can't be out there to do it. So that's the stressful point. So it's both sides of the coin. Giving my teammates pointers and things I see on the floor, but also having that stressful point where you can't affect the game because you can't play.
Well, you should be stress-free from here on out then. I'm sure it's going to be fine.
We get some wins, I'll be stress-free. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it. We had LeBron James address the media for the first time since March. Real good to hear him. He looks like he doesn't really look like he's panicking much. We're panicking just because of fans, but I really see that that LeBron is optimistic about the return and things like that, and playing with new guys. Shout out to Daniel Artest. What's good, bro? Appreciate you on that. Thank you, man. So who we got next? Just waiting for the next Laker player to address the media. Daniel, we got to do a show, man. Like, we haven't did one in so long. I got Daniel Artest. My daughter in here, she keep coming back and forth in here, waiting to see when I'm going to be off. So hopefully, we get some more Laker players to come in. She keep peeking around the little corner trying to see when I'm, going to end the show. But, man, overall, just hoping that the Lakers figure this out. Yeah, man, most definitely. We got to do something here soon. Talk about these Lakers. So what we got? So before LeBron addressed the team, we was talking about KCP. Right now, he is averaging. Let me see, real quick. So last year's averages, he had I think he was averaging 9 points a game. This year, I think he's a little bit above that just because he had the big games as well. For a career, he's averaging 27 points, but I think this year he's still down from that. He just been struggling with a lot of inconsistency. I think he had those two big games that I talked about, and then it just goes downhill from there because you have games where he's playing 30-plus minutes and he's giving you single-digit points. Like tonight, he was 0 of 5 from 3. It just wasn't the ball just wasn't falling, and he's a big contributor when he's playing and he's knocking down the shot. Like, you have to respect it because he can knock down that 3 ball consistently. Because during that Mavericks game, he had 29 points, 6 of 12 from 3. That'll work. That'll work all day long. Down the stretch, that'll get you, some much needed games in the playoffs. But 6 points, 0 of 5 from 3. You know, we can't do nothing with that right now. We're not going to be able to sustain with that level of play from a starter. And I've been very critical, you know, lately about, you know, certain players and things like that, you know, being on the floor 30 plus minutes and giving single digit points, not just, you know, KCP. You know, it's just a consistency with that with a lot of key contributors. You know, you heard LeBron. There's a lot of pieces they still have from the championship. There are some guys that was key contributors that are no longer on the team. They're in other places. And they're just basically trying to figure it out on the fly. The one situation that I see that this type of roster move is working is with the Brooklyn Nets. They haven't really played with their big three, but they're still number one in the East. You know, and they're dealing with injuries too. They've dealt with so many different injuries as well, and they're so deep. They're just winning games. It does matter what conference they're in, the Eastern Conference doing this, but they're still figuring it out. Got a rookie head coach, brand new bench. You know, like, you know, they're able to get it done. And then I think KD, he's only played in like 18 months. He's only played like 36 games. And I think I seen him the other night. He had like 42 points, and he had just came back from injury. You know, like Kevin Durant, like he's a different animal when it comes to, you know, him being on the floor. You know, you have to always plan for Kevin Durant. But, you know, we're talking about it. League MVP, Finals MVP, champion. You know, he's definitely a future Hall of Famer for sure. And I know for a fact that we definitely going to have to cross his path. And we're going to have to be prepared for that or get sent home early. You know, we can't even talk about, you know, postseason right now. We're losing to teams like, you know, Sacramento and Washington. You know, just talking about Kevin Durant, he returned back from that injury and swept the Pacers. It was a 130-113 game against Indiana, in which he was able to come down with, you know, 42 points. Now if you watch that game, Karis LeVert had a great game as well, and I like Karis LeVert's game, and I know that he had something to prove. It's against his former team, but I think they really didn't have a whole lot of help, but I like the way they're using Kevin Durant. You know, he's getting in there and he's just killing them. You know, he's really you got a plan for him. So it looks like they might be, you know, getting their roster back together soon. But, you know, I was impressed by that game. I was watching like some of the highlights during the draft yesterday. We're gonna take look at some more comments. Yeah. The Nets do have a lot of, you know, role players, and, you know, they get a lot of attention. They got the big stars, but, you know, they just, you know, they doing it different. You know, I always, I think the last stream that I had that question. I got a couple of new people in here. What do you guys think if they're able to win the championship, the Nets? What does that say about the NBA? What do you think that says if a team like Brooklyn figures it out and wins the championship despite all the injuries, the time with the 3 stars in the roster? What do you think about a team like that making it and winning the NBA Finals? Because it could happen, because, you know, it definitely could happen. Anytime you have Kevin Durant on your roster, you know, it's definitely something that could happen. So, you know, I would like for someone to give me a detailed answer to that question. Like, what would it say to the integrity, the efforts of teams that actually played together, been able to handle adversity, have their backs against the wall, and figure it out. I'm talking about championship teams in the past. What does that say about the integrity of the NBA? If this team is able to pull off the improbable and win an NBA championship without playing together. You've had Kyrie in and out of the lineup. You had KD in and out of the lineup. James Harden hasn't played in a very long time. And then you'll get one back and you'll lose one. So I would like to know that answer to that question. Like, what do you guys think? If you're just entering the stream, we just heard from LeBron. It's a Lakers live post game or Out of Bounds. But a question has been posed. What do you guys think about a team like the Brooklyn Nets winning the NBA Finals in such an unconventional way? We have a comment. Let's see. So you have Kyrie giving you 30 to 40 points, along with James giving you 30 points, triple double, and then Harris open threes. So I mean, like, what do you think? With guys like that, I know that what they're capable of doing. You got Kyrie that's capable of, going nuclear. You got James Harden that's capable of going nuclear. You got KD that's just a lethal, cold-blooded assassin. But they hadn't played together in such a long time. I think total, they've only played 10 games with the big three. And the season is winding down. So, say, for instance, hypothetically speaking, you get all three of them back in the playoffs. They take off and win the NBA title. What does that say? What does that mean? That you can get three guys and just put them together and win the title. I know that's just like the nature of the business now. Like, this is what's happening. But what does that look like? What does that mean for the NBA? I agree, like, with that statement as well. The Lakers don't have the sense of urgency, but once they do, they got the roster to be able to contend with anybody. I know that we're looking at it right now like, they just lost to the Kings, they lost to the Wizards. Like, man, this team is falling apart. But I got big confidence in this Lakers team. I got big confidence in the organization as a whole. It just right now it's just difficult. We're going through those growing pains, with integrating new people coming back from injury, but it's not time to panic yet. Absolutely, Kuz. We just need to get more production out of him as well. I like his game when he's actually playing, good. But it's like those games are few and far between at this point. Like, you don't know when he's going to be out there making an impact or when he's going to give you like 2 points, 4 points, 5 points. It's tough. Whenever before LeBron got there, Kuz was, pretty decent. But now, with LeBron and AD, he his role has changed, and it's kind of hard to kind of process that whenever you have been the guy on your team and that was kind of like low expectations and not, you're not playing for anything. He wasn't playing for the playoffs or anything like that, and he was good. But as soon as you get LeBron, you get AD, you mentally as a young player, you're taking touches from me, and then you're having to, sit on the bench. You have to kind of come in the game and play whenever the coach calls your name, and it's tough. But I think that he's gonna figure it out. He's an NBA champion now, so just you got to respect that. Let's see. So Cam Dynasty says, for me, the NBA. That says the NBA has changed to a league where, if you want a ring, you can call 2 other superstars and you can win and make the league look bad, and you can win and that makes the league look bad. Yeah, I mean that's the league, and I grew up, in the Michael Jordan era where players wasn't able to move like that. Even with Kobe's era, I follow his career. I'm used to players like that, Dirk, staying with your team and things like that. But the league has changed. The power is with the players, and it's more apparent in the NBA than it is in any other sport. And sometimes I like some of the player movements. I'm seeing guys change and able to get rings and things like that. But it's really getting to a point like with the Brooklyn Nets, they made it was excessive. I think what the Brooklyn Nets did, they just put this team together. I mean, they was able to get James Harden, Kyrie. It's almost like that's not fair at all. But I think if anybody can match up good with them, it's going to be the Lakers. I know that they're losing, but wait and see, y'all. And we're still waiting to see who's going to be next. Thank y'all for bearing with me. And during this time, we're waiting on the next player to address the media. I had a question for LeBron. I had it prepared out, but sometimes during these streams, they're picking and choosing what media member is able to get a question in, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to get one in. So my goal during these streams is at least get one question, in with LeBron. I wasn't able to get that in tonight, but hopefully we're able to get that on the next one. Let's see. The Nets are healthy. They should win a ring. It'll be an asterisk by the chip, though. Provide some context behind that. A lot of people, bring up this asterisk. If a team wins the NBA title, the team wins the NBA title. They talked about that in the bubble with the Lakers. Say they won the championship. It was a bubble pandemic championship. If you win the NBA title, you win the NBA title. It wasn't a short situation where, if you remember, like in '99, where they had the lockout. So that means that that San Antonio team that won the title that year with the condensed schedule in '99, they got to ask you about that. Nobody really talks about that. I remember that very well. The first ring Tim Duncan won with David Robinson, and they were able to win a championship because of the lockout. After the lockout, I'm not really a big fan of the asterisk, but because that they won the championship. Oh, so we got AD addressing the media, so let's get AD up.
Hello, we're back. Will, we'll go start when you're ready.
Thank you. Mike Trudeau.
Hey, Anthony, what were your first impressions of LeBron returning and kind of how that played out in tonight's matchup versus where you guys want to and need to get to for the final 9 games?
He looked good. I mean, obviously he wasn't himself. I'm pretty sure he told you guys that. But it was good to just have him back on the floor, have his presence back on the floor. And guys are still trying to get back to playing with myself, playing with Bron. You know, this is Dre's first game with Bron, no practices. You know, me and Dre still had one practice. Now that Bron's back, you know, Dennis kind of slots to that, you know, 2 guard, you know, even though he's, you know, shorter, but, you know, for the past, you know, what, 7 weeks or something like Bron was out 6 weeks. He was a primary ball handler. Now Bron's come back, his role changes. So just trying to adjust and get used to each other again. But you know, we're gonna figure it out. It's gonna be fine. No one is, you know, their head down or kind of sad because we're losing games or anything like that. We know we're gonna be fine. It's an adjustment. We're going through an adjustment period, getting guys back, figuring the roles out again, and we got 9 games left to try to get it going.
And for you individually, you had that kind of the second quarter defensively, the third quarter offensively. How close do you feel like you are to putting your whole game together and finding the form that you aspire to get to?
A couple more games. I mean, I'm still getting, you know, I got my legs back where I played the entire third quarter for the first time since the injury. So, you know, getting my legs back, shots are starting to fall, starting to get, you know, the quickness a little bit back on defense, you know, blocking shots, protecting the rim, rebounds, things like that. So starting to, you know, get back to my old self. So it felt good. It felt good to kind of get in that rhythm on both ends of the floor. Been even better with the win, though.
Kyle?
Hey, D. You know, you guys have talked a lot about sort of finding this balance of getting guys worked in, but also winning games. If you lose some close games down the stretch, but are able to, you know, find rhythm and find the lineups that work, is that worth it if you guys have to play in a playing game?
I mean, obviously, we don't want to be in that situation. We know we're gonna, you know, you're not gonna have a lot of practices, especially this late in the season. You know, you probably walk through some things and things like that, but you're not gonna, you know, go out 2-hour practice and things like that. So our practice is the games, and you know, even though we don't want to lose, you know, we do want to take a step, you know, in the right direction every time we step on the floor, gain some momentum going into the playoffs. But it really doesn't matter where we are. We know we're very confident in ourselves. We know what our team is capable of. We know that, you know, once we reach the playoffs, it's a different story. But you know, we're still trying to get adjusted to each other. But I think for the most part, you know, we're using these games as our practice and still trying to figure each other out.
Dave?
AD, outside of the lift that LeBron brings statistically, is there any like inspiration that you guys get seeing him be like at this level at his first game back after being out 6 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, the team had a little juice, you know, when I first came back. And then we had a little juice, you know, when Bron came back. So it's good when you get your main guys back and back on the floor. You know, unfortunately, they both ended up in losses. But, you know, we know, you know, that we're getting healthy. You know, he's getting back to his old self. Probably going to take him a couple games to get his legs back under him. A lot of his shots today were short, even though he made some shots he usually make. Were a little off tonight. So, you know, his first game back, like I said, got to get his legs back under him. You know, I'm starting to find mine, and you know, it's just an adjustment that we're going through. But we are excited that we're able to be fully healthy and have everyone available to play, except Alex. But you know, he's not going to miss any significant time.
Bill?
AD, what were you thinking when LeBron took that last shot? You know, obviously there was so much anticipation to get him back on the floor. What happens in your mind in that split second between when he shoots it and you know whether it goes in or not?
Try to go for the rebound just in case he missed. You know, I think I don't think I had anyone on me as I was crashing to the glass, and it just kind of went over my head. You know, he shot that one pretty long and it hit the back rim. So, but you know, he's known for making those shots and taking those shots. We had a little eye contact of what we wanted to do. But the guy kind of, went under. He had some space, so he was able to shoot the ball, get a clean look. We lived with those shots. It's still a tough one to lose, but like I said, he's still finding his rhythm, and we're still finding our rhythm as a team.
Last two, Melissa Rowland.
Hey, D. Frank mentioned that last season, heading into the playoffs, you guys also took your bumps and bruises, so to say, and then obviously, look what happened. You guys go on to win a championship. So do any bumps and bruises right now kind of feel differently based on like what you guys went through and what you were able to accomplish?
I'll just say this, I'd rather go through it now than in the playoffs where, it takes 3-4 games. Now that's a whole series, and we can lose that series. I'd rather go through it now in the regular season. That way, going into the playoffs, we're back adjusted to one another. We're accustomed to each other, and we're rolling. So, even though it sucks to lose, I'd rather, find our way now, find our path now with each other than having to go through it in the playoffs.
Last one, back to Kyle.
Hey, D, I was just wondering when you knew that today might be the day that LeBron is coming back. Was there anything on the road trip that came up, or were you was he tipping his hand at all to you, or did you find out this morning like everybody else?
Find out when I think Montrez sent a chat or text in our group chat of like a whole bunch of people dancing of just a picture. He said when I just saw that tweet, and it was that like a meme of everyone dancing, and I didn't know what he was talking about. I mean, obviously I was sleeping in my nap, so I woke up and I forgot who else posted the Woj tweet. So that's when I found out. I guess when it hit Twitter, when everyone else found out. And I still didn't really believe it because, like I said, he didn't say anything to me about coming back or anything. So I was like, maybe it's really Sunday. He'll, warm up and things like that. But when I got here, it seemed like he was ready to go. So yeah, I found out. I think like around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock when everyone else found out.
Thanks, AD. We're good there.
Yep. All right. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
All right, that's going to do it for tonight. AD was the last Laker to address the media. I want to thank everybody for tuning into the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. We got some great feedback from some of the players. Also, Coach Vogel stepped in. I want to look at some of these comments before we actually end. Let's see. Well, I mean, Coach Vogel. I mean, he's an NBA champion coach now. I mean, I think he's doing some different things with the roster, and just really, not winning right now. I mean, it's easy to point fingers, point blame. We just have to start getting it done. So we got the next comment. Kind of makes you lose respect for these players now. In the 80s, 90s, they played until they beat you. Good players in the draft made you respect the organization and players. Yeah, I mean that's what we was talking about before. You had teams when their players they stayed, they retired. With that team that drafted them, but it's a different NBA. It's different. That's players move. It's the players move era, and hopefully, this is something that we have to start getting accustomed to. But hopefully, it doesn't damage the league too much. Some rosters that are adding players and stuff. It's interesting, to see some of the players that people are adding and getting better and things like that. But some of the things it's getting really excessive. As far as like the player movements and things like that. Like with the Brooklyn Nets, like I was like, oh man, that's just too much. Like I've seen it so much. Like with LeBron, he moved a few times. You got KD, he's moved. But whenever you got three, also like that, like Kyrie, James, like it's like, come on, like really, this is what we're doing. But it's just how the league is right now. Luke Walton didn't have Fox Barnes playing and Halliburton single-handed. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, Halliburton, he's decent. Like, you're paying attention to him. He should be in the Rookie of the Year conversation for sure. I think it's because of the team he plays on, but you got to respect Halliburton. He's been doing this all year. He's a heck of a player. He's been making an impact with this team. Like, really, honestly, like, y'all gonna have to start really keeping him on your radar. Excuse me. So they built a real super team, added special talents like Blake, Aldridge, 3 MVP caliber players. You think people saying LeBron beats the fully healthy Nets, he wins the GOAT combo. I mean, his case is already made. Like, if LeBron retired today, like, he's set. You have different people that have their different criteria of what a GOAT looks like, or what a GOAT career is. LeBron has already been in the GOAT conversation. Whatever he is right now, that's not going to change. That's what it is. If he's able to, beat this Nets team, it's definitely gonna, look good on his resume. But his legacy is already cemented. If he retired today, he's cemented. He's one of the Mount Rushmore players of the NBA. But if he beat this team in the finals, fully healthy, you gotta tip your hat off to that. Yeah, man, exactly. It's it's excessive. Maybe a little bit of an understatement, but I like the Lakers' chance this year, but that Nets team, you cannot count them out. Like, regardless, you can't count them out. Let's see, will the Lakers end up in the play-in tournament? If they do, are they at risk of getting bounced from the play-in? I mean, it's. I think with the play-in, I think I spoke about this before. Right now, they're not in the play-in situation. But if Dallas wins and Portland wins, they could, and the Lakers lose again, they're definitely going to be in this situation. But I think from the Lakers organization, from when I heard, they're trying to, like, that's a avoid at all cost situation. Like, they shouldn't be thinking about even entertaining a play-in situation. Like, that's like when you hear them, they say something about a play-in situation, they try to get off of that topic. They don't want to talk about a play-in situation. They're not focused on the play-in situation, but the reality sets in, and you see the record, you see the teams that are behind them, and if they don't start winning, then they could find themselves in that play-in situation. But I don't think that the Lakers, I don't think the league is going to allow the Lakers with this amount of talent not to be in the playoffs. They're not going to get bounced from the play-in situation. They're going to make the playoffs. Like, the league needs the Lakers in the championship. The league needs the Lakers contending for the title. Just with the amount of talent that they have, there's no way in the world. Like, I mean, right now as fans, we want to be emotional about the situation, but let's temporary emotions and think of it realistically. There is no way the Lakers are not going to be in the playoffs under any circumstances. What's up, big baby? What are your thoughts, man? I love to hear your take on this. I know that you probably about to jump off the bridge right now. Like, what are you thinking? Big baby is a big Laker fan, so love to hear what he has to say about this Laker team. Let's see. So, Cam Dynasty, the way James Harden can get you 15 assists and move the rock makes the Nets dangerous for me. Yeah, man. And with James Harden, he's changed his game a bit. He's not, he doesn't look like that James Harden back in Houston where he's just jacking up shots and not really focus on nobody else's offense. Like, he's actually moving the ball. He's getting assists. He's getting guys involved and things like that. And he's hurt. I think he's still hurt right now, I believe. But with James Harden playing like that, that's scary. That's dangerous. That's really dangerous, because he's he's turned into like he's when he's on the floor, Kyrie plays the 2 actually, and he plays the point guard position. And I think, in my opinion, with the way James Harden playing, he plays the point guard position better than Kyrie does. That's my opinion. Right. Yeah, Big Baby, we just got to get it together, man. You just got to figure it out. I mean, got 9 games left, and AD whenever he was talking to the media, he was talking about like they're not getting chances to practice, so this is like their practice run, getting everybody together. Like, if y'all just think about how difficult that is. I know this is the NBA. I know this is, we have high expectation for our NBA players, but think about it like this. Guys have been out for a significant time. I know if I go out there and play basketball myself and I'm consistent, I'm going to be okay. But once I stop playing and I go back out there, things are just totally different. This is just from the average person. You think about athletes, they should be able to bounce back and return, but they're human beings as well. It's very difficult to be able to miss that amount of games and to come back and shake off the rust and just be forced back into live action like that. They're not getting practice reps. They're having to try to get in when they fit in because the season is so condensed and they're having back-to-back games, almost every night. And it's hard because you're just getting thrust into game time situations without practice and things like that. They just got Andre Drummond integrated in. They got AD back. They got LeBron James back. I mean, it's difficult. Just because they have, the name on the back of the jersey, the player has not 100% fully returned just yet. You look back there, you got 23 and it's James on the back of the jersey. You have high expectations. You got AD back. You expect number 3 for the Lakers to produce. But it's just not the case. Think of the human element. It's difficult to be off that long and to be able to come back in and pick up where you left off at. I've said this before. When they was out, I said I don't want the Lakers to fall too much because it's going to be very difficult for LeBron and AD once they do return back to the lineup and try to claw their way back into contention. They're not going to be where they was at when they finished off. The only thing I can say, I'm glad LeBron James came back tonight. Hopefully he doesn't take any more games off down this stretch. He plays the rest of the 9 games, and that's 9 games for him to be able to get his legs under him heading into the playoffs. Let's not, disregard the team element. I mean, the human element. We have to really consider that. All right. I don't see any more comments, so I want to thank everyone for listening to the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. I want to thank everybody for the support. Definitely got good momentum during this stream. If you're in the stream right now, I see about 7 people that are still there. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Definitely helps out the show. I do these almost every Laker game where I break down the game and then I post the live post game, with the team addressing the media and things like that. So you can be able to hear these before they get posted, before ESPN posts them. Like you hearing this live, from this channel. So do me a favor, hit the like, subscribe button, share the videos, let everybody know that we're bringing great Laker content here on this channel. Shout out to CSB. Salute, thank you. But we're gonna be all right. We're definitely gonna be okay. Just need to temper our expectations. Don't disregard the human element, man. Don't do that because it's difficult what they're up against right now. But again, thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and we are out for tonight. Peace.
If you love the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast,